Hey guys, how's it going? Chris here from New Zealand. I'm going to talk about my favorite stocks for today. Just before the market opens, you'll see at the bottom here, we've got half an hour until the pre-market opens. And here in New Zealand, it's already 9:30 at night. Right, so I'm using Market Investor Pro, which is a software that I've developed for myself. And it's pretty much just there to help me identify stocks that are good for trading. So I'm a day and an intraday trader, so I like to buy and sell stocks within a matter of days, a maximum of 10 days if I can afford that, and nothing more, and take some quick profits. I don't use fundamental trading strategies. I base all of my trades on statistics and logic and the law of averages. So I'll just talk you through about some of the trades I've been looking at in the past month. So you can see this is all for since the end of October, and you can see the profits made and the losses made. So not every trade is a profit for me, some are losses, and I see that as the cost of doing business. As long as my profits outweigh my losses, then we're doing good. And in my case, for this month, it's going well. We've made $6,682 in profit, and that from about 21 trades that were closed, and I've got a couple open, more or less a total of about 29 trades as we are at this moment. You'll see there's a couple open. These ones in the column where you see either the green or the red lights, those are indicating my current open trades. So what I like to do is I use my stock finder tool to find stocks that meets a certain criteria. In this case, you'll see I've got a last close minimum value, maximum value, a volume greater than, and I look at the stochastics specifically to help me identify the stocks that I would like to trade. So I've run through the stocks for the day, and that changes on a daily basis, and I've ended up with a few here at the bottom that I have shortlisted. So those are analog devices. So let's have a quick look at the indicators. So the last close was at $134.88, and we can see that the EMA 18, EMA 50, and the EMA 100 and the SMA 150 are stacked quite nicely in a bullish manner. We can see that we had a deviation there from the EMA 18 a while ago, a recent while ago, and then it snaps back and bounces off of that EMA 18. We can also see from the stochastics here, using a period of 5, a signal of 3, and a smoothing value of 3, we can see that we're at just above, turning back from the 30 mark here. So the magenta line at the bottom indicates the 30 mark, and the magenta line at the top 70. So good time according to the stochastics to look at buying. It indicates that it's currently oversold, so good time to buy. We can also see from the MACD, again, fast period 50, slow period 100, and a signal of 9. We can see that we've got a bullish momentum going here, and we've got at least a good gap and no chance of intersection between that MACD line and the signal line there. So that is good based on the way that I identify my stocks, which you'll come to learn. The RSI here at the bottom, we can see that we've got, again at the top, we've got a 70 line and we've got a 30 line, and in the middle the 50 line. And this again just is another indicator for me to understand where we are in terms of overbought, oversold, or sometimes you'll find that you bounce off of that midline heading back to the top again indicating that bullish momentum. So all in all, it looks pretty good. We've got the ATR, or the average true range, here as well. That just kind of tells me what the deviation is and the volatility of that stock. So all in all, I think this is a good stock to look at. Definitely something I would consider buying at this stage. And you'll notice if I head over to my portfolio, I've actually done that. So I've gotten in at 79 of those on the 21st. You can see that my current value has dropped $9.48, but that is for 79 stocks at $135. So all in all, not too bad. I am quite positive today that this will pick up a bit, and perhaps tomorrow and the day after. If not, we always set our risk level, or our allowable losses, and if it dips below my allowable loss, which is about $200 to $300, then I'll cut the loss and move on to the next stock. As you can see here in my portfolio, I've had some losses. Here's a $4 loss, not too bad. There's a $354 loss and a $120 loss. It's the cost of business, and it happens. We do 20 to 30 trades a month, and we try and make sure that, you know, we win as many of them as possible so that we stay in the profit. Just FYI, I always set my loss risk level, or the R value, and then, you know, as 1R, in my case about $300 or $400, and then I always set my profit to 2R, which means even if I win 50 and I lose 50 trades, I still make a profit because that profit margin is bigger than the loss margin. So anyway, let's move on to the next one in the list here, and that is Zebra Technologies. Again, if we quickly look at the indicators, we can see nicely the EMAs and SMAs stack up nicely, bullish, all good. We can see that there was a deviation again, bouncing off of the EMA 18, and then on Friday there was a slight bearish candle. But if we look at the stochastics, it looks like a good time to jump in. And then also from the MACD, we can see all looking good, no potential for intersection there within the next few days. And then from the relative strength index, we can see we're dipping a little bit below the top level of 70 there, but you know, it's still looking good at this stage, and it looks like that, you know, looking at the history and the trend here, that you know, in the last few days at least, that it's been, you know, trending quite at the top level there a bit, so all good. Last on my list here is Pfizer. Now, I said I'm not a fundamental trader, and usually I'm not, but if there's really good news somewhere in the market and I think there's a bit of a deal to be struck, then I would always take the risk. So I decided I'll jump in with Pfizer on the 20th, and since then I've made a little bit of profit on that. But let's look at the technical indicators for Pfizer. And anyway, not the best looking setup here in terms of the EMAs, although they do stack above each other. It's not super strong, and we can see some volatility happening there all over the show, and we've got this doji candle on Friday. So in terms of the stochastics, that's gone up a bit since we went in, or since I went in on the 20th, which is around here, and that would have brought us lower down, you know, at least a little bit lower down into the stochastics. But still, there's some room for profit there purely based on looking at the stochastics. On the MACD, again, not the greatest show of bullish power and momentum, but the blue line above the red line, which is good for me. It doesn't look like it'll intersect, and hopefully a bit of good news in terms of the COVID vaccine will push those stocks up a bit, but I'll watch it closely, monitor it closely. We can see it bounced off this mid-level line here on the relative strength index quite a bit and dipped a little bit below, a little bit above. Let's hope this trend continues upwards and we get to make a bit more profit on that stock fairly soon. That'll be great. Also, the way I trade, I don't try and get the maximum out of each trade. You know, if I bought a stock like NEO at $30 and I sold it at $37 and I made $713 in 4 days, you know, I could argue that I could have made a lot more because the last close was at $49, but that's not the point. The point is making those trades and, you know, consistently achieving twice the profit, 2R for profits as opposed to the 1R for losses, and that is what is important. If you get greedy, you get caught and you lose money. So I'd rather take a good profit and walk out and do another trade, as I did here with NEO again. I bought in at $41 and I sold at $49, again making $239 in a single day of trading. So that is good profits and that is consistent. At this stage, I wouldn't look at buying NEO simply because the data doesn't really tell me to, and also it's very difficult to find historical patterns that is similar to the current trends with NEO, simply just because it's all over the show and it's unlike we've seen it before with the stock. Looking at the technical indicators though, we're quite a bit above that EMA 18, which, you know, makes me wonder whether that will snap back at some point, or whether the EMA 18 might actually get snapped closer to the new trend that NEO is setting, which is likely possible as well. Also, from the stochastics, we can see we never reached the bottom here. It actually made a mid-turn back upwards again, so very bullish. No chance of intersection. and on the relative strength index bouncing off of that top 70 line, which is just crazy. Don't know how long that can continue for before we have a slight dip and then possibly picking back up again. You'll notice I've also marked a few other stocks here on my watch list. I've got Facebook. Let's have a quick look at that. Not looking super great, just looking at the candlesticks. Also, I've been watching this one because it dipped below that 30 mark on the stochastics, but it doesn't seem to be turning back anytime soon. I'll check again after today. This actually is updated daily, and you can see great differences just by day-to-day trades. But the other concern that I have here is this bearish MACD line that I've got here, and it looks like the last time it crossed over is not that long ago. I have a threshold of 5 days. That's what I try and keep. As long as it hasn't crossed over within 5 days, or not going to cross over in the next day or two, then we should be good to go. But yeah, I'll keep my eye on Facebook. That's why it's marked here on my list, but I might not jump in right at this stage. Another one I had here was this Illinois Toolworks. It popped up through my stock finder, and initially it looked good. Here's a bit of trouble. We can see that stochastics is not looking too great yet. We'll wait for it to turn back up. Once it turns back up and it hits that 30 line, that's the time I like to buy in. And also a big problem here, which will definitely cancel any consideration I've got in getting into bed with this stock, and that is this MACD line crossing with a signal line. That means a big no-no for me. So that's not something I would look into at this stage. Right, and there's a few others as well here. Microsoft, Sempra Energy, Mid-America, Apartment Communities. All of these looked promising initially from the stock finder, but then, you know, there's some potential risk here. I see a very possible likelihood of these lines on the MACD crossing in the not so distant future, and there's no indication yet on the stochastics that these are lifting. So at this stage I'll keep watching it, but I might not want to trade that one. If we look at Sempra, same story. We'll wait for the upturn and then be cautious. You see this decline in the blue line here on the MACD. I call it like the duck hand. If you see that kind of pattern, it's very dangerous because this red signal line might intersect with that blue line, and that is not good for my system of trading. Might be different for other traders. And then again, at the end, Microsoft, same story. You know, very close crossing of those lines, although they didn't actually cross. It looks like the stochastics a little bit below the line. That might turn upwards in a few days, or maybe after today. We'll keep an eye on that. But for now, those are my trades, and keep watching. I'll be adding more, or adding more videos on a daily basis, as much as I can, on my favorite trades of the day, and hopefully that would help you out making your trade decisions as well. I'm not a financial advisor, so what I share here with you are just my own thoughts and my own interpretations of the market. Keep in mind the stock market is very volatile, very dangerous, and very risky, and you need to know what you're doing when trading and not just trade off someone else's advice. Anyway, that's it from me. Have a great day. Trade safe.